Check this out. Bankster.com. $3. 99 cents a week access to everything that we do, all of our content, all sports, all everything. Now I gotta load this up on my phone. What am I doing? Old man stuff here, not knowing what I'm doing. Ugh, I see weather today. How bad is it? I haven't seen anything from Johnny yet, so we will be okay. BB Live. If you are here, please make sure you're saying hello in the chat. I love talking to myself, but I sure love hearing from you all as well. We're live, pal. Got to start with that, right? Let's see if I can put the Bankster chat. Heat Map live. My theme song. Nice little preview for those who are new to Bankster. Our Slack chat with everything. Let's do a little tour. There's our MLB Slack. Look at that. Already popping this morning. Mike shouting me out for my cash game victory yesterday. Not bad. Swept cash. Not bad. Big Johnny Longshot taking down winner take all yesterday. What else is going on? Big Matt crushing it. That's right. Pitcher model has been consistent. Augie, since his return, has been cashing every day. When you join BanksterDFS.com, you do get access to our Slack chat. It's only $3.99 a week for our entire everything. Like, this is all included for $3.99 per week. And look, every day I post, or I'm going to try to post a Daily Doug MLB Heat Map ramble. I'm going to take this heat map that we're going to build now, and then once lineups come out, I sit there and chit-chat about it. All of our articles are posted up here. We got Best Ball. Congratulations to Sean for making Scott Fish Bowl this year. Fantastic. We've got our betting. Jason's killing it. Check out SJP. Check him out over on Twitter. Killing it. Always with the bets. Talk about sports cards. We got our college. We got our MMA. We can talk about movies occasionally. There's our punch list from Tay. Tay kills it. Christine posts some stuff in there as well, which is great. NASCAR page. Steven put up a free tournament. We ran a little bit late, but I'm sure he'll be doing that in the future. We got our NBA. NFL covers both NFL and USFL. Troy's been crushing USFL with his pools. Brandon's been in there with the late breaking news. Sean and Troy still crushing NHL right now. All this included for the $3.99 a week that your membership gets you. That's me being angry because we talked about the Knights sucking. We do cover niche sports as well. What are we playing there? EuroLeague? Basketball? EuroLeague basketball? Not bad. Troy and Brandon cover that. PGA. Chris and Brian. Sean pops in there. Troy pops in there. The team's always in there talking about PGA. We've got Jeff Kaminsky holding down soccer, award-winning soccer. 2019 Soccer Writer of the Year. 2020? 2019? Can't remember. We do Brandon covers some tennis. We do have some WWE chat on occasion. What's going on in the writer's room? Let's see what people are saying here. Probably it's happy birthday to Gouda. It is Gouda's birthday. MLB Live. What's going on in our MLB page? Let's take a quick look, then we'll build the rest. Aaron Judge birthday. Oh, we do have the FanDuel $25 home run going. Johnny likes Aaron Judge on his birthday. All right, we're coming out of slack. It's all part of the $3.99 a week. Get all of our content, everything, under $4 a week. Can't beat it. But right now, we're going to work on the heat map. I've ran the pitching model already this morning. And pitching model, which last night told us it said go Walker Buehler. It liked, kind of like Berrios last night. Love Scherzer. I mean, you know, yesterday was a fairly easy day for pitching because there's a lot of loss of pitching today. Not very many studs on the slate. I would say Carlos Rodon's the closest thing we have to a stud. He is our #1 pitcher for the day. As of right now, these things change based on the lineups that are going to be coming out for MLB, and I do update these for members as the lineups release. I will make some changes. I already made one change based on some data. I saw Luis Severino was at the bottom of the green list, but I popped him up to second. He's going to get those innings. Morning, Irving. We had Severino as a negative for innings, but he's pitched. He's had 5 innings each of the last 2 starts, so we like Severino today. But I mean, we're not there, and we'll build the cash lineup at the end when we get to our actual heat map. Like, we haven't started the heat map other than BVP, and there's a lot of BVP today. But I think it's very possible that in cash we could spend up for both Rodon and Sandy Alcantara, who I like them both for cash plays. I think they're both pretty safe in really good spots, good matchups. And I was able to build a cash lineup that had a couple of big players in there, a couple of value plays, of course, and then Rodon and Alcantara, and that's kind of where I'm headed for cash. That's really what the heat map's good for cash. We like it for GPPs. Johnny handles a lot of GPP in Slack. I'm a cash. I mean, I play lots of GPP, but this heat map and this video and kind of where I present my findings is more of a cash slant that we do talk GPPs. But anyway, let's get right to it. Let's start pulling up some data for pitchers. I've sort of preloaded where we're going. And so the point of the heat map, basically, we're going to find how pitchers do with their platoon splits versus lefties versus righties. We're going to find if they match up. If there's any correlation between bats, who, let's say, you've got a bat who hits, righty pitchers well, and the righty pitcher does poorly against that lefty bats, that's a correlation that really works for us. And so we're going to take a look at those bats. So the heat map is really looking at what bats can we take a look at, but also could take a look at a situation where maybe there's a pitcher who didn't look like they were in a good spot, but their team they're facing, like let's say Jordan Lyles, right, facing the Yankees, and Jordan Lyles is bad against righties. Let's say there were no Yankees bats that hit well against righties. There are, but if there weren't, we could see that and go, hey, Jordan Lyles doesn't do great against righties, but the Yankees don't have anyone who can take advantage of it. So maybe Jordan Lyles is a play. He's not, but that's the kind of situation that we could take a look at. We do take a look at data for the pitchers and for the bats for the last 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022. That's been working really well for us. It's enough of a sample size where we can get a good idea of what they're doing currently with a mixture of what they've done historically, because this year's only a couple weeks in, and last year's just 1 year. So I kind of like to take a look at historical data over time. And we might be updating some of those things. Now, when we take a look at the pitcher rankings, the other thing that we need to consider, again, is the lineups. I take a look. So when I'm looking at my pitcher rankings here, when I come into my data, I'm looking at the opponent's success against pitchers of that hand. So, I'm looking at A's versus lefties. I approximate what their lineup's going to be. I have data, and I pull the players that I think are going to be in their lineup, but until I know who's in their lineup, I don't know. And so that could change. I don't think it's going to affect someone like Rodon. But if the right team is sitting the right players, maybe, again, we pull up here, okay, we take a look at, let's go right back to Jordan Lyles. No, let's go to another team, another player. Okay, so Zach Davies against the Dodgers, right? Dodgers hit righties really well. Let's say the Dodgers just all of a sudden decide to just play a bunch of players. They're resting players. They're going to rest Will Smith. They're going to rest Cody Bellinger. They're going to rest Muncy. They're going to rest Freeman. They're going to rest Renner. That won't happen. Well, then the lineup that comes in there might actually not be so bad, and then we see Zach Davies move up a little bit. It's not going to happen, but that's where the updates for the members makes a lot of sense and is very helpful. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at right-handed bats we want to target. left-handed bats we want to target, and teams that it doesn't matter if they're righty or lefty, we just want to attack that pitcher. Now, on a smaller slate, I will take a look at yellows. Now, Dallas Keuchel struggles against lefties and righties, and so I am going to take a look at the righties against Keuchel, but someone like Patrick Sandoval. Patrick Sandoval doesn't get crushed by righties, and he's pretty good against lefties. And on a slate this large with 11 games, 22 teams playing, I don't need to dig too deep into the yellows here. On a 4-game slate, right, we have the 4-game 6 o'clock slate today, which for members, I should have a heat map for that. I am going to look at yellows. I may even look at some greens to attack because there's only 8 teams on the slate. We're definitely going to look at yellows. Here, you see all the red. We're not hurting to find bats today. So, Keuchel, the White Sox, I believe they're taking on... Who are the White Sox taking on? I don't even know. Royals, I think? Yeah, Royals. So, we're going to take a look at some right-handed Royals bats. So, obviously, we're going to probably see Sal Perez and Merrifield standing out. Jordan Lyles, as we see, is bad. So, it doesn't really matter who the Yankees are playing. We're going to like Lyles. Now, for here, I'm going to take a look at Odorizzi. He's worse against righties, but Odorizzi's a guy that we're going to attack on both ends with Detroit. No, Odorizzi doesn't pitch for them anymore. He pitched for Houston, so we're going to look at Texas. Sorry. I don't know why I thought he pitched for Minnesota, because he used to pitch for Minnesota. Josiah Gray, both bad against both, so we're going to take a look at Miami here, which is really interesting. Josiah Gray is an interesting case study, though, too, because he's been a lot better this year, and a lot of his data is based on last year, so... He could be a guy that we may look at for GPP pitching, and we'll still look at Miami for GPP. I don't think I'm going too crazy, though we may see a guy like Miguel Rojas make our cash lineup because he does have good BVP against Josiah Gray. And, Gray is not great against right-handed bats. So, something we might look into. Same thing with maybe Brian Anderson, because I think I'm going somewhere else for shortstop today. Let's see, Daniel Lynch bad against righties, so he's in trouble today against the White Sox because they have a ton of righty bats who hit lefties really well. Paddock bad against righties, he's Minnesota, so he's taking on Detroit. Minnesota's Detroit today. Yeah. So we're not going to look at Sandoval. I am going to take a look here at Dalton Jeffries, San Francisco lefties we're going to take a look at, just because he's obviously a rookie, doesn't have a ton of exposure, but he has one of the higher slugging percentages allowed to lefties, and we want to attack that, especially with a team like San Francisco that's major power bats. Taylor Hearn, terrible against righties, that he could be in trouble today against Houston, though that series has been a little weird yesterday, but Texas in general has been weird. Houston's been weird this year. They've disappointed a lot. Luis Severino, interesting. Now, he doesn't have a ton of data. He's only got 7 games in the last 3 years. But he struggles against lefties. Baltimore doesn't have a ton of lefties, but we're probably going to end up looking at Santander and Johnny's favorite, Cedric Mullins. Pavetta's a guy that, because he's going up against Toronto and pitching so poorly, even though he's in yellow here, I may look at both lefties and righties. You know what? We know we're going to stack Toronto. Like, we like Toronto. They'll be one of our main stacks. Maybe not the main stack, but they'll be a stack that we look at today. But I think I just want to look at the lefties specifically to see if anyone really stands out. If maybe a Bradley Zimmer is a guy that we might want to look at today. So I want real specific on Toronto, even though I know, we're going to look at Vlad and Springer and Bichette. We're definitely going to look at Bichette today. Gurriel at 3,200, I think, if he's at cleanup again. It's just like almost a cash lock for me at that price. Is Espinal lefty? I really like Espinal today, but I don't think I need him. I don't think I'm going to run 3 Toronto bats in cash. Now, he's a righty. But he's someone at the bottom of the order. If Zach Collins plays, that's what I'm going to look at. I think Zach Collins will pop a little bit today. So those are guys that we're going to look at for sure. And so that's why I really want to specifically look at Toronto lefties today. And then we've got Zach Davies. Gosh, he's also in big trouble against the Dodgers. Will Smith's going to pop. Trey Turner, Justin Turner. Doesn't mean, and Mookie Betts should pop. He's getting hot. We're not going to shy away from Bellinger or Freddie Freeman again, but Davies specifically is reverse split, struggles against righties, and so while people might load up on the lefties, you throw Will Smith in there. Will Smith hits righties really well. We love Will Smith, folks. So we're going to take a look there. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, I kind of like against Minnesota today. Has decent BVP against them, but he does give up some power. So we are going to take a look at the Minnesota lefties. But I don't think we're going to find much outside of like Max Kepler that we're going to love here. So I think Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be one of those guys where it's like, okay, he struggles a little bit against lefties, which is weird because he's a lefty. Wow, lefty on lefty, yeah. But he's decent against righties. Not great, but he's decent. I think that's going to be a situation where, like, well, there's really no one to take advantage of this lefty power against him, and so Rodriguez can end up being the play, right? He's, where's he at? Oh, yeah, he's at the top of the yellow, so he's definitely in GPP consideration today, and we'll get to that. That's interesting. Interesting. And so there's a lot of guys who are just not going to target. That doesn't mean we might not use stacks against them. Like, do I believe in Jordan Hicks? Not really. So might I use the Mets? Potentially. Tristan McKenzie can be a little bit wild. So perhaps I might use some Angels today. Like, there are guys we can go after, but you look at the names that were not necessarily popping on the heat map. They're not guys you would expect to target other than leverage plays, right? Like Bassett's a good pitcher, Stroman's a good pitcher for the most part, Fried, Gossman, Rodon, McKenzie, like they're all decent enough pitchers. Gonsolin, I like Gonsolin today, so those are guys that we're going to, not overtly target at this point, but they could be guys that we're going to look at leverage for. Like I don't think I'm using an Oakland stack, but that would be leverage for sure. So now we're going to take a look at Kansas City bats. So we want to see Kansas City right-handed bats going up against a lefty pitcher. That's what we want to look for right now. So we're going to pull up some data. This takes a minute to load up because I got to get a lot of information correct on here in order for this to pop. So work with me here, folks. Just lay back, right? Like we're just chilling. Kansas City. Kansas City. I don't think we're going to see a ton of bats here, but we're going to see righties versus lefty versus left as right. And we're not going to see a ton of bats, but we're going to see enough that, maybe Kansas City is a team that we look at potentially to use a few bats for. Sal Perez should be there. Advanced data. I think I have everything I want now. Let's take a look. There it is. Perez, Mondesi, Taylor. Not even Witt. Witt's not even there for power. So Taylor's interesting because he does have some BVP against Dallas Keuchel as well. Even if he's batting at the bottom of the lineup, but if, oh my goodness, they give him lead off, that'd be great. But we don't have enough plate appearances yet from Bobby Witt for him to be, but Witt's a guy we can obviously look at here. But he doesn't pop because I need at least 20 at-bats to make it worth my time to look at. So we'll put in Perez, Mondesi, and Taylor. So I'm a stickler for spelling correctly. And Taylor and Mondesi particularly pop, so they get the bold italics treatment. If they're bold in italics, it means we like them just a little bit more. White Sox, we're also looking at righty bats versus lefty pitcher. I think Daniel Lynch should be in for a rough outing today. But the White Sox have also been known to screw us, so who knows? Oh, yeah. They murder Anderson, Lubob, Grandal, Vaughn, Pollock, Abreu. Even Josh Harrison does some things. Not that I'm running through Josh Harrison, but yeah, this is... I already forgot the order. Isn't that terrible? What I like about using the active roster feature is that I don't have to worry about guys who aren't playing. And it's everyone. Oh, goodness. Oh, this is just... The White Sox are your number one stack for the day. I don't see another team. I don't see another team surpassing that. Detroit's taking on Minnesota, which is Paddock, so we're going to be right versus right for Detroit. White Sox are going to be expensive. Let's take a look at their prices really quick, but we definitely going to use White Sox today. They're going to be chalky as hell, though, too. But 42 for Grandal. Holy crap, they're not even over 5K. Berger's a guy who doesn't pop, but he's useful. All right, so Timmy over 5K. Lubob might not play. What's going on with Lubob? He wasn't playing over the weekend, and that was the last game. Okay, so we'll see what happens if he doesn't play. Oh, goodness. Vaughn and Pollock. Oh, my goodness. White Sox are going to be chalky. Chalky, 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 chalky. But that's okay. They're good. They're going to be our top stack today. All right, Detroit going against Paddock. Not a lot. Just Torkelson. He's finally got enough at-bats to make himself worthwhile for what we're doing. So 20 at-bats is enough for me. And he pops a little bit. I do like the torque. But we do have a couple of power options here in Javier Baez and Dustin Garneau. So we are going to look at power upside. And the thing with the power upside plays, they're obviously going to be more GPP, one-offs. They're not, or parts of stacks. They're definitely not going to be our cash guys because they're just not showing enough consistency. And that's really what the bold italics guys, that's a consistent, they get on base and they have power. Those are guys that we like for cash. And they're going against pitchers who struggle against batters who hit from the side of the plate that they hit. Like, it's like a perfect storm. What you want to leverage today, Daniel Lynch might be a guy. But, I mean, obviously I love Chicago, but Lynch is like a strikeout guy too, right? I don't know how the strikeouts have been for Lynch this year. He is... Wow, he is way overpriced. Yeah, no one's going to touch him. But he had those 7 strikeouts against St. Louis. Only 2 in the second game. He's been okay this year. Leverage. All right, stop talking about leverage, Doug. Let's talk about Houston taking on a lefty. We should see versus lefty as a righty. We should see a lot of these bats pop here. I would think. Yep. Wow. We're going to play Houston today, too. Chaz Diaz. See, the problem is... Maldonado, the last guy who there is. The problem with Houston is, I mean, look at the names. Like, McCormick, Goodrum, Diaz, Maldonado. They have pockets where they're okay. Siri even, like... They're not good. They're not good players. Not great players. But Gurriel is only 3,400 today. 32, 34. What's he at? He's super cheap. He's like 36. Like that's just, and he's warming up. Like it's 5.3 points per game. If people only look at that, they'll be like, oh, he's bad. Yeah, 2 hits, 3 of the last 4 games. Stole a base yesterday. You know, 3 extra base hits, 3 games of 10 or more points. Like he's easy cash play. And this is why we can spend up at pitching, because you've got Gurriel sitting there at $3,600. He's super cheap. You know, we can take a look at one of these White Sox guys for sure. Vaughn is great against lefties, so you throw Vaughn in there, you throw Grandal in there, who's pretty cheap. Like there are so many options today that are going to work for us. Dodgers are going to be okay. They're going to be chalky probably, but the thing about the Dodgers is, again, people are going to load up on the lefties, but they have got right-handed bats that pummel right-handed pitching, historically. And we should see those pop up here. Yep. Will Smith, Mookie Betts, Justin Turner, Trey Taylor, Chris Taylor. And I'm still not, and I'm definitely not shying away from Freddie Freeman, and I love Cody Bellinger today. I actually think Cody Bellinger is a cash game play. Smith, Betts, Justin Turner, Trey Turner. Was it just Chris Taylor after that? Yeah, Chris Taylor. And who are our hot guys? Top 2, Smith and Betts. I love Smith for cash, but I don't know if we can get to him today. We may have to spend down a little bit of catcher there. Some really good value catchers. Like Austin Hedges makes some sense. I do want to talk Cody Bellinger real quick, though, too. And I will go over those cash options for Bankster members in the Doug Heat Map Rambling video. Today we'll go over that. I mean, we will throw together some stuff while we're here. We'll talk about things, but Bankster members get that good stuff. Bellinger, first of all, good BVP against Davies. Does hit righties well, and he's slowly but surely starting to play better. He has, 2 hits in 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last 9 games, 10 games. He has multiple 2-hit games this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games of more than 10 points in a dozen games. I mean, he's cash viable at $3,200. He's not cash viable at $5,200, like where he was priced when he was the MVP. But now he's fairly average hitter. He's Alex Verdugo. He's Michael Brantley, a little less consistent than Brantley, but he's a guy that, in the right matchup, at the right price, which this is, he's very cash viable. And again, at $3,200, you can start to see, you put him, you put Gurriel in there, you spend up at pitcher, you do have money to get bigger bats. And I think that works a lot. All right, San Francisco is taking on Dalton Jeffries, so we want lefties versus righties, versus righty as lefty. We'll throw San Francisco out there. Boom. Only a couple of bats. Belt, Crawford, Luis Gonzalez had a home run yesterday, and ooh, I do love me some one-off Jock today. With Jock Peterson priced at. Late game hammer, Jock Peterson, $4,000. I mean, Peterson is hitting over 300 this year, almost 400, six dongs. I mean, maybe cash viable. Maybe cash viable. Definitely GPP viable. All right, I forgot who I had there. Belt, Crawford, Gonzalez, Peterson. How many of those guys? Top 3 guys that we can look at. So see, here's one of those where maybe even though he's not bold italics, we take a look at like Jock in there still, like he's definitely usable. And Gonzalez at 3K. Gonzalez at 3K. He's only been up for 4 games, but he's played really well and he's cheap. Oh, we're gonna load up. San Francisco's gonna be. I think they're gonna be chalky as a late game hammer, but I do like the Giants today quite a bit as a GPP stack. Let's see, Baltimore going up against Severino. Interesting. All right, Yankees are there. Interesting. The Yankees aren't there. They're there. I just didn't get there. We didn't get there yet. See, Doug's rushing. I think we're just gonna see like Mullins and Santander here. Look at that, Mullins and Santander. You do this long enough, you start to learn who those players are. But that's the thing too, like you start to see those trends. Second base and third base, Odor. You got a little pop. Let's pull Odor. Second and third. Second and third. $2,800. Not ideal, but. And so these are guys that no one's going to think to use. And, like, who's going to use Baltimore today? I'm not stacking Baltimore, but might I use them as one-offs? I just might. Depending upon the price, of course. Well, that's a good enough to take a look at what Baltimore's prices are sitting at. Now, there could be rain. That would suck, by the way, if there's rain in Washington. They call games early. That would really suck if I couldn't use... If I couldn't use Alcantara today, that would really piss me off. Let's see, Mullins. Mullins is down to 4K. I'm not saying he's a cash play, but he's heating up. And, I mean, yeah, Cedric Mullins is a really good play today. Boy, if we can't use Alcantara, where do we go for cash? Gosman? Gonsolin? I know I'm way off topic here, but probably Gonsolin. Strikeouts aren't, I don't even know. Let's hope that game doesn't rain out. Like, that's what we're looking for. All right, Blue Jays. Should see some Zach Collins in here. There he is. Boom, Zach Collins. No one else does anything for me. Zach Collins, if he plays, and he should. Cash play? Under $3,000? Not 3,300. Dang it. That sucks. But dude just got popped for days, and he's, like, at that, even 3,300 isn't bad. I'd prefer to spend 2,800 on him, but... what are you going to do? Minnesota is taking on Detroit. Minnesota, lefty versus lefty. We're going to see nothing here. We're going to just erase Minnesota, is my guess. I don't even think Kepler. Like, I think I don't see it. I don't see anyone of Minnesota popping for me here. Nope. Nobody. Literally nobody. They're terrible against lefties. Okay. See, that's where we can take a look and go, all right, well, all this is crap. I'm just going to take a quick look. Versus left as right. Let's just see, because he's not great. See, this is where we could have some trouble between Buxton, Correa, Garlic, Polanco, Urshela. But he's not terrible, and I don't think we need to get to Minnesota today. So I'm just going to ignore them. I'm not against Minnesota, so it doesn't matter. There's way too many other plays. Let's take a look at the Yankees. Yankees versus righties. If you are here, if you're watching, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, click the notification icon. I try to go live every single day, 9:30 in the morning, Eastern time, and then member videos come out whenever I get time to film them. Once I get some lineups later on in the afternoon. Definitely later on in the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock. All right, Judge, Stanton, LeMahieu, Donaldson. Judge, Stanton, LeMahieu, Donaldson, Gallo, Rizzo. Judge and Stanton being the only two that pop. All right, interesting here. Well, not interesting, but first of all, obviously Yankees are going to be in play today, playing in Yankee Stadium. It is Aaron Judge's birthday. We do love the good birthday narrative. Stanton and LeMahieu, good BVP against, Stanton and Donaldson, good BVP against Jordan Lyles. Could be a rough day. See, so already we're seeing that the Giants, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, the White Sox, all going to pop. We're not going to shy away from Toronto. I mean, which could actually help, because if we find that one stack's going to be way more widely rostered than others, we'll just pivot today. Like, that's what we're gonna do in GPPs. Let's see, Texas. Who the hell's Texas taking on? Houston. Okay, who's pitching for Houston? I don't remember. Odorizzi. Instead of guessing, we should just look, right? Odorizzi. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got versus a right, Texas. I do love Texas. They're always fun, but I don't know. Are we really going to get to Texas today? Seager, Miller, Simeon, Lowe. I do have to put it in order. Simeon does have some BVP. I do believe in BVP. Cole Calhoun and those guys. Just because there's a lot of Rangers here doesn't mean we're going to load up on Rangers either. Just means we've got to think about them at least. Maybe for a turbo slate. Miami versus the right. Oh god, I hope this game doesn't rain out. Please don't rain out. It is raining on the East Coast today, though, so. Ugh. A lot of Miami bats, too, huh? I don't hate Miami. Why I didn't look at 3 or 4 names. Anderson, Cooper, I will say that Anderson and Cooper, makes some sense because they both have BVP. Jazz is hot right now, so Jazz is a guy we can definitely look at. John Jesus. Jorge Soler. Jorge Soler has some power upside that we're going to take a peek at, and that's it. That's what we've got here. So now we've got to play with colors and figure out who our cash quarterbacks. Dumb. Got to figure out who our cash pitchers are, our GPP pitchers, and we got to figure out what stacks we're looking at today. Colors here mean nothing other than the color of the uniform of the team that I am highlighting, so don't read too deep into it. It's just a quick way to find the team that you're looking for. Nope, I did that color. I try not to duplicate colors if I can avoid it. In Texas, I go back and forth between red and blue, depending upon what I need more of. And that's the funky blue. And there we go. Ooh, is Jesus Sanchez? Yes, he is. Alright, BVP guys always get orange. Power upside gets blue. And now let's look at cash pitchers. Cash pitchers today are Rodon, Alcantara. Jeez, I don't even know. I don't know if I trust Severino enough to put him in cash. He's been good though. Same with Fried. Paddock getting through against Detroit. It's crazy. That's Fried done this year. They're just so expensive. Like, there's no cheap cash pitcher today that I'm really looking at. Fried's only had one really good game. I think he's over Severino for me. I don't think we need to spend down in cash, so I'm not going to worry about it. If I were looking to spend down for a cash pitcher today, it might be Paddock or Erod. God, I don't like either of them for cash. Maybe McKenzie, but he's so like, oh, the Hawks. All right, we're going to stick with those guys for cash right now. GPP, the list is going to get long because there's a lot of pitchers I like for GPP. Paddock is one of them. Severino is one of them. Sandoval is one of them. I don't hate Sandoval. We're going to move him down so I can fit. Bassett's one of them, but he's very expensive. The thing about Hicks, right? I like Hicks. He's a little expensive. And I just don't see him getting more than 3 innings. So that's the problem with Hicks. Dalton Jeffries could be interesting. Again, I worry about strikeouts. I worry about innings. Stroman hasn't pitched great this year at all. But he actually has decent numbers. I want to put Jordan Lyles in there, but like when I realized I could have gotten Berrios at the same price yesterday, perhaps I'm not in love with that. But Arizi I don't trust. I'm just trying to see. I mean, McKenzie for sure. I guess I'll throw Gonsolin in there and Gray. You know what? I don't even know. That's a lot of GPP pitchers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we've got half the pitchers on the slate in here, but GPP, it's kind of an anything goes thing. I am not afraid to put extra pitchers in there. I would say if I had to cut out anybody, it'd be Gonsolin right now from that list, and maybe Bassett. Bassett's expensive, right? Like, he's been great, so why would we not at least look? But he was great against really bad teams, but he still strikes out a lot of guys. I can't not include him. All right, and let's look at our stacks for the day. Stacks. We have Chicago White Sox, right-handed batters. We have, who else did we say we loved? Houston, right-handed batters, plus Alvarez, Brantley. I don't love Tucker. Today, watch him go yard. New York Yankees, for sure. San Francisco, left-handed bats, for sure. Los Angeles Dodgers, right-handed bats, plus Freeman Bellinger. Like Toronto, Baltimore is basically Mullins and Santander. Mini stack. Miami for sure. Texas for sure. That's a lot of bats, but again, you want to, you want to spread that love. Am I missing anyone? Let's see if I'm missing anyone here that I should be loading up on. I'm not rolling Kansas City. Like I'm not. Like a Kansas City mini stacks maybe. And then, of course, you got your leverage stacks. You've got Arizona's a leverage stack. Boston's a leverage stack. The Cubs are leverage stacks. Not sure about that. Washington will be a leverage stack. Cleveland's in play, sort of. I'm just not, who would I say I was looking at for leverage there? Like, realistically, Arizona, Boston. For leverage, AR on it, or Boston for leverage. All right, so top stacks of the, geez. I really have 5 prime stacks today. I never go this many stacks, but they're just so good. Toronto's going to be my only green stack, and then everything else is just, yellow. I think we'll add KC. Perez. Still can't see right here in bats. Because I'm not against using Dozier and Merrifield. Whoops. There it is. That's what Heat Map looks like. Boom. Done. We now transfer them over. As I'm transferring them over, that's it for today. We'll be back again tomorrow at about 9:30. Looking at tomorrow's Heat Map. Please make sure you check out banksterdfs.com. You got the link right up there. $3.99 a week gets you access to everything that we do. Most importantly, you do get access to that Slack chat, which we post everything to the Slack chat. The website's great, but if you just go on the Slack chat, you'll get everything that we do. It all goes there. Covers all the sports, college sports, pro sports, niche sports, $3.99 a week. I will have member video later on today. Once lineups are out, breaking down my cash lineup, talking about where we're going for GPP, any changes that needed to get made. Members should get a heat map. Hopefully, I'll get one done for the 6 o'clock 4-game slate. That's pretty juicy for a 6 o'clock slate. And that's it. Check us out. BanksterDFS.com. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow.